we've got a partner in Rwanda who works with smallholder tea farmers. And so these tea farmers, we're talking like an acre or 2 acres of land, maybe, that a farmer owns and is growing tea, traditional Camellia sinensis tea leaves. And so a few kind of interesting nuances, right, is in Rwanda, where the tea grows is typically on these really steep hillsides. And so you've got this small plot of land, steep hillsides, and tea traditionally is grown essentially as just a giant monocrop, right? It's a bush that's roots always stay in the ground for literally, in some cases, like over 100 years.
Wow.
And so it's just that's the only thing that's grown there, and it's harvested depending on where in the world it is, the amount of harvest that happen per year. But in this case, these farmers in Rwanda, that's their only crop on their land is tea. And so between the rows of these tea bushes is just exposed soil. So when you have these steep hillsides, exposed soil, it's prone to a lot of soil erosion. So that's not good. And then also it's, like I said, it's basically a giant monocrop. So you don't have a lot of biodiversity that actually happens in these spaces. So when we wanted to look at a regenerative agriculture project, we wanted to address some of those challenges from the environmental side of things. But what's really cool is and one of the things I love about regenerative agriculture is like there's also a lot of opportunities for like economic benefit. When we look at a lot of the developing parts of the world or economically disadvantaged parts of the world that the majority of our ingredients come from. So smallholder tea farmers, they have one crop. So they don't have a diversified income, an income that's dependent on a commodity crop that's price is driven by, world market trends at any given time. But no other opportunities for income off of that land in the sort of current condition or current state when we started this project. So what we wanted to do, because we have our Choice Tea brand, the brand of Choice is really focused on more traditional tea products. So you've got like Earl Grey, English breakfast, jasmine green is really focused on the tea leaf, like the Camellia sinensis products themselves. So we were buying tea from these farmers for the Choice brand, black tea that goes into those products. But when we were looking at how can we like intercrop in these tea farms with additional ingredients, like we have this entire Yogi brand that has like a pretty diversified portfolio of ingredients. And what we landed on was lemongrass. So between the rows of all these tea bushes, we started a pilot with 65 farmers to plant lemongrass between all of these tea bushes. And so part of our funding for that project, part of our funding went towards actually purchasing the slips, the little baby lemongrasses that were going to be planted between the rows. Like we funded the actual initial seedlings for that planting. We funded the education support, the training support for how to like plant and harvest them. We funded some infrastructure and training around composting and having compost assets to be added to that system. So now that first initial like pilot phase started in 2021. And so it's been successful enough to this point that like the farmers have had their first few harvests of lemongrass, which means they have an additional income source and a diversified income source. And it's been exciting. Like the farmers are excited enough about this project and having this additional different income source with some of these added environmental benefits that it's generated like enough excitement in the community that we're like ready to scale this project out to 100 additional farmers.